Hey, great. Oh, you guys want? Okay, great. Let's loosen up a little bit. Okay, just shake out the arms a little bit. At the top. A bit out to the back. Circles. Check the sides. Yeah, keep it together. And changing direction. Great, swing the front and back. And then dropping it in, dropping the feet. Great, just a little bit for the head. Nice big circles. Working both ways. Mobilizing the neck. Run the shoulders. Forwards. Good. Stretching them out, rolling the shoulders. Great. Roll the elbow. And changing the side. And working them together. Great. Rolling out the side, working with extending the fingers and then going to a fist. Work your way up to the top. And then back down. Great. Okay, just working the chest, front and back. Okay, bringing the arms into a stretch and then to the front. And open out to the back. We're just working the side out a little bit. Could work in any direction. Good rotation work. Chin up and down with the ups. Great, circling the hips. Changing direction. And coming down, sitting down into a squat. Hands on the knees, twisting through the spine. Great, going a little bit wider, looking side to side. Just hold it on one side. Great, changing over. Good, coming down, bringing the toes up. And changing side. Great. Just facing one way, one way up. Stretching out through the back of the leg. Keep bringing the arms up, very slightly bending towards the back. And a little bit away from the back leg to the side. And changing the side. So let's stretch a little bit back. Good, edge a little bit to the side. Go stick it to the knees, just rolling in circles here. Good, bend and straighten the legs. Dropping down. A bit of pressure against the legs. Great. And just roll the ankles out. Second off the ground. Straighten out to the toes. Great. Press the heel down, stretch into the toes. Good, change inside. Good, open off the floor. And straighten to the toes. Great, pressing down the heel, reaching the toes. Okay, just go a little bit into the wrist, taking the knee up and down. And you know what? Good, go to the big sheet. And you know what? Right into the knee with the thumb over the top. Chin down. Into a center. In the hand. The fingers over. Right, change inside. Wrapping over for 𝒉𝒐𝒻. Right, change inside. Right, pressing out the fingers. Rolling them, spreading them. Great, come out the top. Up and down. Side to side. And we'll rub the elbows down. The legs. Quick shaking the whole way. Okay. Great. Okay, we will do 𝒂𝒂𝒃 today. Great. Great, let's go straight into the first group. So take your time with it. On the back. Nice. Okay, great. Take this to the kind of swing through exercise, but there's just a slight change. Feel like you're actually going to find the focus with it. Like, so you intend to focus with it, but just let it drop through. So you just kind of release the sword. So it's the same exercise as just kind of swinging it through, but don't go with the intent of swinging it through. Go with the idea that I'm gonna place the hip, but just let it kind of swing through, follow through. So really focusing on the center of the body, and the key thing here, focus on the idea of the focus giving you stability, but just release it. So you're not allowing the body to you're not allowing the arms to stop, but that feeling of hitting the ground with the body. So it's as if you focus, release it. Go to focus, release it. Yeah. Release it. That's it. The main thing here is just watch the shoulders. So watch 4 things basically happening at the top of the movement, where the shoulder cells kind of jump out and then come back in. So really allowing this point, think about the shoulders just constantly kind of trying to roll back into the body. Well, they're actually already rolled back in. So just think about, keep that kind of feeling here that you've got. It's the front of the shoulder kind of soft. We know what to do is that the shoulder kind of jumps out, and then in the swing down starts to kind of pull back into the base. So just look at that kind of movement, keeping the shoulders calm through it. Every so often, just go now into the focus. So feel like you're going into each time, but every so often, just that, just find it. Find the focus there. Sometimes just drop it through. But the key thing, listen what's happening to the body, especially in the hips, the shoulders. That's kind of going through to the sword. So either with the swing or the focus, actually the same. Or movement, exactly the same. Good. We'll take it to Zengo and just work with the same first, sometimes kind of swing it through, but keep always the kind of feeling your intention is to go into the focus with the hip. So imagine the movement you've got with the hip here, with the focus. Use that same feeling when you drop it through. So that same feeling of hitting into the ground with the body. But sometimes just let it kind of swing through. Sometimes find the focus with it, but keep that feeling of kind of hitting the ground with the hip, the whole body. Whether you focus the cut or you swing it through in the air. So. Okay, perfect. We'll take it into a little bit of Shiho. Each time finding the cut, so find the focus. Find the focus, switch it. Focus. Focus, dropping back. Okie dokie, perfect. So we're going to number 2. The main thing here again, we'll go back into this idea of kind of wanting to focus, but just swinging through. So the first few, just go in with the idea of hitting in and just sinking it through. The big difference this in terms of the footwork is now, if you go from the number 1 to 2. So 1, you've got the back foot down and you're just striking in with the front foot. With now, what you're doing now is you're stepping in, all the weight's going into the front leg, and then the back leg's kind of dragging into it. So focus now on the idea of really entering the weight of the body into that leg, and then the back foot just drags in, it's kind of stabilizing. But focus here on, again, feel like you're going to go into the focus, but just drain it through. The body to be nice and stable through that bottom part of the arm. And just watch for now 2 patterns which tend to happen. So the first one is the kind of obvious one. This happens a lot for me. It's like that, and the body goes into tension here. And then as the foot comes down, the body's basically held in tension. So you end up in basically like a front-loaded position. The other one is that I don't go into tension, but I allow the body to kind of rock back into it. So it does this kind of bobbing back and forward. Try and move in a way where neither of those are necessary, basically. So it's not you're trying to stop them. You just want to get the feeling that the body just hits straight into a balanced position, which is tricky. So you're doing a really frontal position. Let's take your time in that position, but listen for either one of those 2 happening. You probably have one in a sideways. One is like holding the body in tension. The other is the body kind of rocks back. And use both of them to kind of try and hit more the middle of the posture each time. You might also feel a bit of sideways movement as well. That's a slightly different story. We'll go into the hands and the arms as well, because kind of specific with this one. Again, you don't want in this find a position in this kamae where I don't need to pull the arms back to find the back. So you're basically look for a position here where you just kind of release the sword and you find the back with it. You don't want in this form to be like if I'm in this kind of posture and the form says like touch the back, then I do something like that, pull the arms back to do it. So look for a position here, essentially just right above the head with this hand, that you can release, and the sword kind of drops to the back. So there's no big kind of pull back of the arms movement, which if you think about it, it's just going to kind of pull me back and then drop me forward. It's going to increase that kind of imbalance in the body. So look for a position here where you can just release the sword, touch the back and drop in. But start to bring the focus slowly. Again, that feels dropping into the front leg. This position's quite hard to see, especially when you can't see yourself in this form. But one of the big signs is whether I can see the whole of this hand or not. So if the sword's in front in this kind of position, and I look at the hand, I can see the whole of the hand. I can even see this hand now in this position. But look for a position where I can't really see that hand, unless I strain the head to look up at it, the eyes. But I want a position where that hand's kind of slightly hidden from it. So that's kind of a tell that I'm in the right place. But if the hand's out here and I can see the whole thing, I'm kind of in front of the head. So we look for a position here where you're slightly above, and then I kind of feel you're basically on a position later where you can just drop into the cut straight in. So that's the feeling you want, without it being in the front and me having to pull back, or also I don't want to be too far back, obviously. Just look for that kind of thing, kind of cutting a C into the top of the head. Yeah, so that's nice. Okay, perfect. Just take this now into two directions. So you've got the top the same, that movement. Now you want to think about spiraling underneath and straight away get into that position. Again, looking for that position above the head. Dropping it underneath. So spiral it. And then again, focusing on dropping into that leg with the cut. Dropping in. This is especially important for us because we do a lot of rotation work in terms of Taijutsu work, whether we're kind of loading the body in the front. This really matters in terms of the sword. So again, just look for that position here and just notice if the tendency is to load to the front of the body as you do that rotation. What you'll notice is that finding the middle becomes much harder, because if you think about the sword being out in a rotation, which is what we're dealing with later in terms of the Taijutsu. But if I can't kind of get the sense of that coming kind of loading it into the center of the body, it's going to kind of throw me out when you do it. So just think as you do this, really drawing the sword into the center of the body. And then slowly with this form, just start to take it into a flexible pattern. So you've got now this whole movement now tried as one. So you've got like one movement into the cut. One movement. You get kind of dizzy doing this. Just go to the form where you kind of step back. So you step back. One, roll in. Two, and then reset it. One, two. Really look for the middle, especially that rotation. Great. Okay, we'll take this into a little bit of number 5. So you've got a similar kind of pattern with it. So you're coming through and the cut's happening here into that front leg, and then the back foot's kind of dragging into it. So again, just focus now, slightly different hip work with the yokomen, but that then dropping in the cut. The big thing now is that this is all one movement. So the raise, cut, 1. Raise, cut. And again, if you want, experiment with the idea of just kind of slicing through it. The key thing in that move is that the bottom of that arc of the slice should be nice and stable for the body. Just experiment a little bit with the time with this. So the tendency here is the cut goes like this, the theta plays, and then the cut happens. Da, 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 da. So it'll be like a 2 beat, the 3 land and then boom, boom, feet, boom, boom, something like that. Look for, again, get the weight of the cut here in that movement. So it becomes kind of one thing, but don't wait for boom, boom, boom. Now I snap into it. So feel the weight's gonna, if you think of this as an attack, the weight needs to enter now in the cut at that point. So that's when I need the weight to be entering the ground. But I don't want to get the weight in and then the cut's placed. In a way, the timing's off. So just look at the timing of the cut as you do it. Just kind of come with that step in. That. And that back foot's just slightly behind, but it's not so far enough. You don't want to split the cut in 2. Think of the same thing like landing a punch, but you want the weight to be coming with the strike. Yeah. Oh wow, that's it. Yes. Good. Wow. That's it. Okay. Wow. Whoosh. Whoosh. Good. We'll just do one kind of two-way form from here. So it starts the right side. You're going to cut the left in with a yokomen and then rotate to the back, cuts in down with a kind of, wouldn't be a second yokomen, it's kind of a shogun in terms of speaking in terms of Subaru. But you want to go left side, one, back, cut that way. Nice simple form. One, change, cut to the back. Whoosh. Great, and say the same. Play with the same form, just working from the left side first. So you've got it right side in, so the yokomen, change, left side cut to the back. So starting on the left side, go right. There. Okay, so just play with these two forms. You do left side first, right side first. Doesn't really matter. But just play with now as if you're going to deliver the strikes in one beat. So rather than like now 1, 2, look for something which is a bit more like 1, 2, or more like one movement. So think about kind of delivering the strikes now. 1 in 1 move. On the right side. 1 movement. Yeah, just play with that a little bit. Again, think about what's going on with the feet and the hands, how you use the feet as you do it. Nice. Just break this down a little bit and just play with getting to the top of the movement. So play with the first cut, that and just that coming up to the top this way. So you want to really like get the key thing here is you don't want to rock the body back and then find the cut with it. If you think about Shihonage, like as a technique, you want to kind of go in and engage the hip into the cut straight away. You don't want to kind of come in, disengage, and then try and recapture it. By the time you got to the throw, you've kind of lost the technique. So in this case, the same kind of feeling. Think about that. Top heavy. But you want the feeling like you're coming in, find it that kind of feeling. Just get up to that kind of top position. It's very similar to position as the second 𝒂𝒂𝒏. Kind of get in the sword right to the top, center. In this case, a little bit more dynamic. You've got the body. Yes, the body wants to engage forward straight away. That's nice. Okay, we'll come back to this at the end. Just go now into a number 7. So super simple, just dropping back into a first group here and then going into the thrust this way. So you've got a different organization of the feet now. And the weight during the thrust is in the front leg. So you're going to cross the body with it, and then the feet are dragging in behind it. Again, you don't want to wait in this case for like the feet to come in, and then I thrust with it. So obviously that's kind of in a way stupid, but look for the feeling like how would you use it. It's basically where the sword being pressed and you're advancing underneath it there. So the weight's being entered through that point. So that right leg as you go in there. You can look at a nice stable movement at the end. Just play with a little bit of flexibility in it. So you're looking for now that and that to come together. So that hip coming into the ground, the foot coming into the ground, that and that's the same kind of action now. So that the feet just adjust after it. Think about 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏 with the joke. That movement is coming from that front leg. So this all goes into one movement. So like that to that, and then the feet kind of adjust after it. They're not far behind, but again, you don't want to wait and then find it. So look for that kind of percussion point. It's going to come from the ground that drives through it, straight from the cut. That. Yeah. Yeah, and just again, watch out for like adjustments in the hip. So watch this, like something like this happens. The hip gets drawn back. So the hip goes like that, and then it goes like, pulls back, and then goes in first. So really look for like the hips kind of drive in. So you've got like that, and then straight away think of the hip driving into that movement. So that you want the point of the sword and the hip basically to be driving into that movement. But if at that point, if that moment, I want the tip to drive in and my hip goes, then the sword's kind of lost. It doesn't know what really to do. It doesn't know, because we're training to follow the hip. It will drop out. Will follow the hip automatically. So give the sword the hip behind it that way. So we've got really like sense of piercing with the hip. Yeah. Okay, great. You could just combine these in your own kind of way now. Play with the first move we do is this idea of kind of coming into the yokomen, changing the direction, going to another cut, something like that. And this one now is the sense of coming into the yokomen, changing it straight into a ski. So just play with that as you go into, and you can mix them into a set, or you can just kind of do them individually. But think about the ability now to land the cut, change it. Or land the cut, drive it into a ski. So just playing with kind of second movement off it. Okie dokie, perfect. We'll stop that. It's a little bit of kinagari pattern, so you can play with. Yeah, the key thing with those is think about where you're placing the weight in the cut and what timing makes sense. Also, thinking kind of practically helps as well with those kind of movements, but obviously that's a rule. Okay, great. Domo arigato gozaimasu.
Domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.